And welcome everyone to another, I almost said off script roadway. I have so many different shows and I get them confused. This is Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Richard, GM Bloodworth, and today I am joined by Tony Merida. I'm going to let Tony introduce himself, but just to put a little context, so I have been kind of crossing paths with Tony at Shire Con, although not these last 2 years, but his brother, who I mistook him for, has actually been winning a lot of awards at Shire Con. So,
Yes.
That's Mark, correct? So,
Yes,
Mark has been stealing all the fame and glory at Shire Con with his awesome adventure writing. So, Tony and I have been going to Shire Con now, probably back to the early 2022-ish, around that time frame. And so we kind of go back and really the same circle of people that we have been encountering, and we will be talking about that too, is convention organizers of these conventions, these smaller conventions, and I really do want to focus on that. But Tony is on because he has his inaugural OSR convention coming up, and I'll let Tony introduce himself and then jump right in on that.
Richard, I just want to say thank you for having me on. My name is Tony Merida. I started not too long ago my own LLC. It's called Galahad Games LLC, which starting off as a promotions company promoting my first convention, which is OSR Con, which will be April 18th, 2026 at the Elks Lodge, in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And then hopefully, as I progress, I will throw my hat in the arena for writing some BX compatible adventures, but we'll cross that bridge. We'll cross the bridge another time. So.
And I mean, it's great to have you here. It's great to see another, semi-local convention for myself to start to attend to. And, I'm certainly going to try to get out there, the week before Rising Phoenix, which is the following week. And, so it's great to see so many of these new, smaller cons, conventions, particularly those that are more focused with the with OSR and independent gaming, and that's my next segue into my next question for you, Tony. So, what made you decide? Like, were there any particular games you wanted to build your convention around?
So, first, just to give you a little bit of backstory of my gaming history. So, I started playing games back in 1991. A few years before that, I was of course way too young to start playing Dungeons and Dragons, but we had the Saturday morning cartoon that I was very fond memories of, Dungeons and Dragons. And then my middle brother, Mark, the award-winning author, as we like to call him, brought home a multitude of BX box sets, the red, the blue, the black, the gold. And just seeing this stuff, it was awesome. The art was amazing.
Yeah.
But I was definitely too young to play. So those boxes ended up, unfortunately, getting mangled and thrown out. And then as it is a couple years later, as I was a little older, my math skills get better, my reading skills get better. My oldest brother went to Walden Book, brought home the Rules Cyclopedia, which, as you know, Richard, is basically one book that takes all of those box sets and puts them in one book. And I was hooked. Seeing Jeff Easley's artwork on that cover, I was like, this. And we started playing basic D&D. A few months later, there was a sign up at a local comic book shop called American Hero Comics. And a group of us started playing second edition AD&D. And then that group still meets in some fashion, depending on who can show up, every Tuesday since 1991. And they're called, the group is called the Knights of Next Tuesday. So, and then, many years later of playing role-playing games, I got into going to conventions. I started my first event and getting to meet the artists, the former employees of TSR, a lot of fond memories with Jim Ward, getting to meet him, talking about Spellfire, talking about deities and demigods, talking about all the books and things that he's done. And I went to Gary Con for a few years and then branched. I went to Shard. I've been to Total. I've been to Con the last decade. And then I just, I got to the point that I was like, I think this is something that I can do. And it all started with another thing that I decided to go back to. I decided to go back to school and finish off my degree. So I went back to UMass Lowell, got into business school, and I took a class that asked me in one of our homework assignments of what your dream job would be. And we're like, I want to be the coach of the Patriots. I want to do this, I want this. I want to. And my response was, I would love to have my own tabletop role-playing publishing company where I could create stuff, put it out there, and have people enjoy games that I've been able to enjoy at the different conventions I've been to. And then I thought to myself, well, why can't I do that? Like, what is it that is stopping me from doing that? So I was like, but what do I want to do first? I would really love to put on a convention. I enjoyed running events at conventions, and I always put on a decent show. So I thought, why not just put on a show for my friends and anyone else that would like to come in, roll some dice and play some games. And Galahad Games LLC was born. I went through a couple of different names for the con, had some friends give me some feedback. I will tell you that initially on the drawing board for the name of the convention was OGL Con. Mm-hmm. And then the issues with the OGL happened, and probably not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea.
But that was on the drawing board at one point.
Right, yeah.
And then I ended up with OSR Con, and for me, OSR Con is old school role playing. Now I know it's old school Renaissance, old school revival, but for me, it's bringing people back to the table to play the games that we know and love, to remind us of what it was like to play these games when we were kids.
Yeah.
So bring back that passion, that first Nat 20, that first slaying of the dragon. As you've seen Chet's artwork, Chet Minton did an amazing job on our banner with the OSR Con banner. We kind of chatted back and forth for a couple months on that, coming up with some ideas. And it started off completely different at first. I had this idea for a Tale of the Tape where I wanted the dragon on one side and knight on the other side, and it to be like knight 6'2", dragon 39 feet. Reach this, wait. And then he's like, well, wouldn't you rather just see them fight? I'm like, well, yeah, I think yes, that's better. Let's have them fight. He's like, well, really, what's your goal? What would you like? What do you want? Whatever I do, what would you like it to convey to anyone who views the piece? And I said, I want you to do something that reminds people of the purity of playing role-playing games. And then he's like, well, why don't we have a group of kids playing a game on the bottom, and we'll have the knight and the dragon fighting above it. And I was like, do that for me, and I will be very happy. And then
And so now I saw you unfurling that huge banner that you have for it. So that looks great. And I use that image for the thumbnail. So, the thumbnail for this live stream, and later on when people watch it as a video, they will also see that. But I will share some other images throughout, especially post-con for sure, and really start talking about it afterwards. So I'd love to have you back on afterwards to talk about, hey, how did the first year go? It was very similar to what I also did with Roger for the Central New York RPG Con, which last June was his first time doing it. And, so he and I know you both have had a lot of conversations with other people who run conventions. So I'll let you talk a little bit about that and how how much that's helped you out in this first year.
Of course, and that's I honestly think that's the heart of everything, because once I came up with the idea to have my own con, I was like, okay, well, listen, I've been going to some conventions and now a little bit, but I mean, honestly, novice, even at best, probably less than a novice on what it would take to put something like this together. So I started messaging Tom Wilson of Throwy Games and ShireCon on Facebook, and just was like, hey, listen, I think I want to do a con, and not only do I want to do a con, but I want you to be one of my special guests, and can you help me? And Tom has kind of been my mentor on this. He put together. He had it already done, but
Right.
he emailed me a PDF, which was like how to put on a con 101, and it was the steps of, from things to and things not to do.
Right.
And not to cut up your nose despite your face. You don't want to go into the red, making it too big, but you want to make sure that you have your ducks in a row. The most important thing is making sure that you have a space that's accessible, that there is food available or nearby, that there's hotel available or near, and you don't put yourself in the red. That was probably like some of the bigger advice tips that he gave me. But then even how to get your swag put together, and setting up an LLC, making sure things are separated, because the last thing you want to do is bleed funds from personal and so forth. And honestly, without that, I would have been dead in the water. So it's been awesome to have him assist me in getting this information organized and put together. So, but as far as other special guests, Del Tiegler, who is an amazing artist who's also done some work for us as well. He designed the logo that's going to be on our T-shirts. It's a knight who's kneeling in servitude. It says Galahad Games and then OSR Con. He's also got another one coming out in March, which I'm looking forward to. I think it's just going to be that one thing that's like, all right, guys, here you go. Now the con's literally in less than a month. Here's this awesome piece that he's, you know what I mean? So I'm excited about that. Our next special guest, we have Chet Minton, of course, who did the art in our official banner, which I rolled out a couple of days ago, which he'll be setting up a table and putting some art will be available that people can grab and purchase from him. We have E. McCarty of Silver Bullet Publishing, who is going to be running some games for us. We have Jeff Talanian from Northwind Adventures. He's going to be running some Hyperborea. And then getting his first special guest nod is Matt Roberts, who does so much for these conventions. He does these really cool psychedelic tie-dye art pieces that he sets out and he auctions them off for charity. I'm just trying to think, make sure I get everybody. So we got Tom, we got Ian, we got Del, we've got Jeff, we got Matt. I think that rounds out.
I think you got them all, yeah. I mean, I can look at, you have them listed as your special guests on the
my
tabletop
website,
event or on the website?
Tabletop as well, yes.
All right, so you have them on both. So let's see, because I will be, obviously sharing, and let's see. So let's see. Actually, news. It says there's 2 news items, but it's not actually coming up. So
as the news items, I think keep in mind, it's another thing I need to kind of the one of the things that I haven't really been able to talk to Tom too much about is the functionality of tabletop events. So those things that's been that's an issue. But on the website itself, on osrcon.com, which there's links available where you can click register. We list the special guests. We list all the special guests on there. So,
I will be bringing up both. I will be sharing. That's not it.
Yeah. let's see, what else are we going to talk about? The silent auction is one thing I want to talk about. So we're going to print out a poster size version of Chet's art. We're going to have the special guest sign it, and it's going to be entered as part of the silent auction. We're taking donations. If anyone has any RPG stuff, I don't care what it is. It doesn't have to be in the best condition or whatever. Just anything. All proceeds are going to go to the Jimmy Fund and Dana-Farber Cancer Research. We just got our acceptance letter to be donors into that charity. I grew up in Massachusetts, huge Red Sox fan, a big fan of Ted Williams growing up, grew up with the Jimmy Fund telethons, and it made sense for me as that being, if we're going back to the childhood stuff, what it was like to play these games. We were kids. I thought, listen, if the Jerry Lewis telethon was still a thing, I definitely would have done that, because I remember having those memories as a kid watching the Jerry Lewis telethon. But unfortunately, that kind of went with Jerry Lewis. But the next best thing for me was, of course, going to Jimmy Fund.
Right. Let me share a screen here, and I am going to bring up. Let's make sure I'm sharing the right one. Yes, this is the one. So this is your. So this is the tabletop. All right. Yes, so this is tabletop, and I'm pretty sure I can expand it so everyone can see it here. But for some reason, it's not scrolling on this side, so I might have to switch back and forth. And so it is. So everyone knows that badge sales are currently live, so you can still buy badges. Let's see. Yeah, so you can still buy badges, general admission badges. There are 44 remaining, so you can still get your badges there. The event is for March. No, I'm sorry. The event is for April 18th. All right, so just one day convention, April 18th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. That is Eastern time. So our UTC minus 4 hours. I hate, it's the American New York time. If you're coming from outside of the United States, perhaps you're schlepping from Canada. Chelmsford, is that how you pronounce it? Chelmsford?
No, it's pronounced Chelmsford.
Chelmsford, all right. So Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And so again, one day con, $25 for your tickets here. And the event's deadline is on March 21st. So if you are looking to post an event and run an event there, that is final deadline for that is Saturday, March 21st. And I'm really looking forward to it. I know this is one of the icons you were talking about, right? So that
was Del Tiegler. Del Tiegler designed the OSR Con logo.
Right, and here is the bottom portion of Chet's, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so this is the bottom portion of Chet's, and I know Chet. I've met Chet several times, and it's been he's a great guy, and I mean he does incredible work. So I'm really excited to run into him again as well. Let's see if I can transition over to your website, because I think that gives slightly different information.
It does. It expands and provides a lot of information. Yes.
Yeah. So let's see if that is going to shift over. If not, I'm going to stop sharing and then shift it over. Yeah. Let me just do that. I hate when it does it like this. Few things are a little bit wonky with sharing. Oh, it's going to be tough to bring that in now. Let's see, more options. Oh, I know how to do it. It's so this one should be now the webpage. Here we go. I got it now. Sorry about that. So here we have OSR. So OSRcon.com, and then you will be here. So, so here it goes through about the convention. You can register now, so that will jump you right over to that.
Right to tabletop. Yep.
Correct. Then we scroll down. So this was the other image you were talking
And
about.
there's Dell's Night Kneeling in Servitude.
Yes.
That will be going on our t-shirts.
That's really cool.
It's classic Dell Tiegler. We kind of came up my house, finished battle. He's kneeling before his Lord, saying, "Battle where we've just won." And he's like, "Do you want some bloodstains?" I'm like, "Of course I want some bloodstains, man. The guy just went through a war."
Yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome image. And here's the space, I guess.
Right there is our special guest, and it shows you the gaming space. I mean, as you can see, I mean, there's ton of space at the Elks Lodge. They just redid their facilities in 2019. As you can see to the right, that's the bar right there. There will be a bartender on staff all day. They also have a kitchen that's going to be open for lunch. They're going to be serving comfort food like burgers, dogs, stuff like that's going to be available for purchase. And of course, if people need to grab food, I'll make sure that I provide some information for any spots in the area as far as grabbing some grub or something. So as you're scrolling down, we have our special guest room. So that's where there's going to be 3 events: 8 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and 6 o'clock for the special guests to run in the private room. Unfortunately, it's just, for one day, it's limited availability, but it's going to provide a little bit of intimacy for these games. Right now, we're just running these games six people per table. Of course, if someone really wants to message me for a little bit larger of a space, which would not fit in the private room, of course, but I'm willing to accommodate if someone was like, "Hey, I'd like to run an 8-person event." I could, as you can see, there's plenty of space for that. So
and then
there's a room block right there at the Holiday Inn, which is not too far away from the venue. Right now, I think we have only a few reservations been taken, so the room blocks for 20, and there's plenty available. So
great. And then you can, of course, get in touch with any of these venues and whatnot to get further information. All right, let's stop sharing, and I'll switch back over to here. And so I'm actually very interested in in certainly stopping by this year, and then I will look to book it for next year. That will be, especially if you're running it in August, that will be so the possibility of it going to August would be absolutely awesome.
Yeah. I guess we could have. So I wasn't quite sure again, is this being my first con? I'm like, what day do I pick? So I landed on April 18th. And again, using Tom Wilson's playbook, start with one day, see how the one day goes, and then expand it. You can do Friday, Saturday, maybe a Saturday, Sunday, and it just seems right now August for 2027 is going to be. I mean, I looked at the calendar. There's nothing. There's just really nothing. I mean, you got the Gen Con, but I even have friends who go, I don't want to go and get stuck in a room with 80,000 people and not and not be able to hear anybody playing in the game or something like that. So I mean, for regional action, I should be safe with August.
That's for certain. I mean, it's a totally different experience. And that was something we were talking about just before coming on, and it's something I want to bring up again, is that smaller conventions, and I consider smaller conventions anything that is like 600 or 800 or fewer.
North Texas and smaller.
You will have an incredible time, at those smaller conventions. Not to say that you won't have a great time at a 60,000 plus convention, but it's a totally different experience. You're going to walk away, I think, from a smaller convention with a very positive experience of it, just feeling much cozier, especially if it's a more local convention for yourself as well, because then you can go back multiple years and you're going to start seeing some of the same faces. And I've been saying this on my channel over and over again with all of the, the convention organizers that I have had on this channel. And the same thing keeps on coming up. I see all of these same people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and they all start going to the same conventions within the same 3 or 4 hour in every direction, that they go into. So ShireCon is like a hub. At least it started out as a hub for me. All right. Then 3 hours away from basically there is Page, the Philadelphia Area Game Expo. Then 3 hours north from there is the Central New York RPG Con. 3 hours from me and heading towards your direction is Rising Phoenix, all right, in Milford, Massachusetts. And now yours is like 2 hours and 45 minutes away. And, we will start to see, because everybody that you have mentioned as your special guests, I have met several times at various conventions. So it's like, it becomes like a social network, like a small con ecosystem that I think has been developing ever since, post COVID in particular. 2022, these last 4 years, all of these small conventions are popping up. And I think overall, that is something that is going to be incredibly healthy for this hobby, is the rise of the small convention. Let's see what some people are mentioning here. I could see me not having a great time at a 60,000 plus convention. Yeah, it's you'll have a different time. It might be a big struggle. I'll let you jump in, Tony. Oh, I lost Tony for a moment, and let's see. Yep, he was losing his connection. I will get him back in.
Bingo.
Yeah. You seem to we're fuzzing a little bit. So I don't know how much you missed on that or what, but
basically just the last couple of seconds. I mean, you're getting into the hub of small conventions. Talked about how you'd met, the special guests and all that stuff, and all basically featuring all the different conventions in the area. There's a need for this. There's a need for this. We have our gaming groups, but we have our extended gaming family. You know what I mean? Yeah. I go to cons and there's always a group of dudes that live in, I go to North Texas, which, right now they max at 600. They sell some tickets at the door. I was going to GaryCon back in the day when I was going to GaryCon years ago, it kind of had the North Texas feel, and I still enjoy going to GaryCon. You know what I mean? But as it's gotten bigger and it's gotten louder when you go and play into different rooms, and the last thing you want to do is be stuck in a room with multiple tables that you're just trying to listen. You got the badge sales, you got the game submitted. You have to maximize. You have to put those tables in there. I understand and I get it. But you always want to make sure that playability is important, and creating these conventions so you can see your extended gaming family. You know what I mean? Right. Where, because these aren't people that you're going to see every Tuesday night. You know what I mean? These are people that you're going to see 3 times a year. You know what I mean? And but it always feels like you just saw each other last week. You know what I mean? It's always a great time, and it's cool stuff.
Yeah, it is. It's really good to see, people, and you'll start to see if you're running games at all of these conventions as well, you'll start to get players that are returning players to your table. For me, that's like the thing that really gets me going, because it's like, oh geez, they actually came and they looked to sit at my table again, and so as somebody who, that's become my thing, is running games at conventions. and I've been trying to, just trying to hone my skills at doing it and looking at other people that do it better than I, because it's always great to look at people that, oh, this person is like at a new level, a higher level than me. And now you have something to work towards, hitting that mark as well. And so that's why I like going to these same conventions over and over again, playing with some of the same people. I've played at Jeffrey Talanian's table. He's killed me multiple times. So it's like,
Yes.
That's the thing with
You
card
and me
games.
both, my friend. You and me both.
Yeah, Rob Connolly, I've played at his table. I've played at, I played at Frank Metzner's table. I've played at Alan Hammock's table. I've played at Jeff Grubb's table. No, I'm sorry, not Jeff Grubb. Zeb Cook's table. I mean, it's just, when you go to these conventions, and these aren't massive conventions, you're meeting these caliber of game masters and and creators that are out there. Some of them old school creators, like TSR era creators and everything,
Right.
at smaller conventions. They don't have to be, not everything has to be a 60,000 plus convention to draw some of the best talent that there
Right.
is out there in the hobby. And that's what I think is really impressive with smaller conventions that are able to start attracting these individuals. And I think it's because they're starting to recognize that, hey, you know what? There's something different happening at smaller conventions. It's much closer. It's much more, it's something that you can really generate a bond with, the people and really make a great connection with them. And it's as much fun for them, I think, as it is for, the person that is just buying their ticket at the door and coming in and just seeing what's going on there as well. So, because I've been a special guest at a convention, and, just to be, I still go there as a gamer. It's like it doesn't matter whether you're still walking into it and experiencing that same thing that I think the people walking in for the first time are experiencing. Really does bring us back to our childhood in many ways. It really does capture that, that thing that we had when we first started playing, when you're in a convention space.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm going to continue that.
Oh, no, that's right. No, because what you said is you've just said a lot there, because when you think back,
are you breaking up again?
I have like just my nerd stuff behind me, and I still can grab one of these tomes and open them up and flip through them. And sometimes I can bring myself back to the first time that, I remember seeing, Jeff Easley, Larry Elmore, Clyde Caldwell, Parkinson, Trempe. Every time that you've seen the artwork, and I think at smaller conventions you can have these side conversations. You can play in these games. You can relive the classics. One of my catchphrases is roll dice, raise spirits, and relive the classics. You know what I mean? When it comes to the OSR, is to have those, is to just. Here's the thing. I mean, it's also it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy any newer things that are coming out, but you also can share these things and these experiences with the next generation of gamers that are saying, okay, I don't care if you play 5th edition, but let me tell you or show you where this all came from. Because it all came from 5th edition. Didn't just come out and this isn't brand new. You know what I mean? In 1974, 52 years ago now, There was this awesome game that came out, Dungeons and Dragons. Let's talk about that. You know, and saying I'd like to segue into. It's funny when I was talking to Eric Tenkart, which you probably know very well.
Yes. Yes.
As I was on Talking Crit with Eric Tenkart, was talking about the Jim Ward Memorial Table that I'm going to have at OSR Con that's going to be featuring the card game Spellfire.
Right.
Now, I don't know if you know much about Spellfire. I consider myself an amateur TSR historian, but because I've read some books, I listened to Paul Stormberg's "When We Were Wizards" podcast, which brings you through the whole. Which is it was a great listen, a really great listen. But you know, for those of us who are fans of the game Dungeons and Dragons, I didn't play Magic. I played Spellfire. You know what I mean? Like that's great. And it's not that I didn't think the cards were great and all this stuff, but like I was a fan of the game. I was a fan of the art. And the fact that I could collect cards, all of my favorite artwork, and play a card game was really cool. What I didn't know is that, you know, Jim Ward really wanted to put out an amazing product for the fans, but because they didn't have any money left on the schedule, but they needed to get the card game out to compete with Magic. Lorraine Williams basically said, listen, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go, just going to recycle all the old artwork and all. And he did the best that he could with what he had. I'd had a bunch of different conversations over the years with Jim, God rest his soul, about Spellfire and how many fond memories I had playing the game. As a fact, here is the Ward Master himself. Let's see if I can put this up here.
I can see it.
Ward's card with his signature.
Yeah, I think it's right.
And
that's awesome.
This, will be put aside. This will be put aside. Where if you don't have a game, schedule up to the welcome desk. You can sign out a Spellfire deck, and then you can sit at a table with some people. And if you've never played Spellfire, I'm going to make sure that there's rules available. And you can, even if you just want to grab a deck and look at some of the cards and look at some of, oh, I remember that module. I remember that module. Oh my God, like they use that in this and they use that in this. You know what I mean? Like it's just because they literally did. They just copy and pasted like art from the modules, the books, and they just put them on the cards. You know what I mean? So it's just, a great experience growing up. And, you know, if people want to sit, play the game, and even share stories about Tim Kask, Jim Ward, you know, Ernie X, all the, you know, these that have left us in the past few years, I think would be good for them.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and it's great that you're honoring the past. You're doing, you're connecting up your convention with charities, which is another like really awesome thing to be doing. You have various ways for people to interact with the convention. That's not just a matter of, hey, I'm going there, I'm rolling some dice and playing some games, but there's social networking that can take place. You're meeting with artists and special guests and whatnot. You're meeting with, you know, other players that you might have seen at other conventions as well. So it's a, you know, it really is. Yeah, I know. He's having a little trouble with his connection here. We'll get him right back in as soon as we can.
And we're back.
Yeah. And
someone hit the internet pole.
It's been kind of calm too. So it's like, you know, I don't know how your weather is, but it's actually pretty calm here. I mean, it's like when you go to a convention, you know, you're going to have a full experience at a convention that is just beyond just playing games. You know, there's so much more going on at conventions that, you know, you should walk away with just like a great experience and be like, I can't wait to go back again next year. and that's something I really like to see. And I see so many people doing it too. Like I said, I see the same people coming back to each of these, smaller cons every single year, and it's great. And then the convention organizers themselves are helping to grow that network out, and that's an even better sign for our hobby in the future because I think that that's the key place to go. As these smaller conventions are rising up, as gaming stores, to be perfectly honest, and it really is a darn shame, but it's just something that happens. As stores are kind of falling by the wayside, right? Because it's so hard to keep them in business. So if you're fortunate enough to have a local gaming shop, visit it, spend your money there, help keep it alive because I'm in a place now where it's like you have to drive 35 minutes to get to another gaming shop. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're not that local anymore, and so
Yeah.
conventions is the one place that you can go to, especially smaller conventions are affordable enough that you can go there and spend a weekend or even just a full day. But eventually weekends as well, and just have a great time over a span of a weekend. I know I have several people in the chat channel here that I have met at conventions, and we go to the same conventions. Like Decado is in the chat. I'm hoping to someday meet Doc, and some of the people that are on my channel very frequently are people that I have gamed with at conventions and just or chatted with at conventions. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing that you're jumping, you're throwing your hat in a ring, and it's a very risky ring. And so I really do appreciate, and everyone should appreciate the fact that you're taking on this challenge. And it's something it's more than just giving back to the hobby, because you're taking great risk at doing it, and so I really do appreciate that.
Something that you touched on with the hobby shops.
Mhm.
So, I mean, for you in your area, maybe hobby shops have a hard time staying afloat.
Mm.
So there's hobby shops in my area. But the thing is unfortunately, to stay afloat, hobby shops have to focus on what's current and what sells.
Right. Yeah.
And what's current and what sells may not necessarily be what you're the biggest fan of, because of the
Right.
fact that it's about trends and what's popular. Of course, right now, I mean, Magic is still popular. There's games like One Piece that I'm hearing about, these card games, Warhammer 40,000, which honestly is a great game. I think I've played it like once or twice at cons just to get the exposure to it. But
Right.
I've also played Chainmail, which is wargaming miniatures. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so, but at the same time, like when you try to, go to these hobby shops saying, hey, listen, like I would like to, what do you have to offer for this, this, and this? Or like, would you like to be a part of this and this and this? It's like they almost look at like, classic RPG tabletops as like, that's just not in anymore. Like we're not doing anything with it. There's occasionally a 5e game somewhere. Like that's, I mean, there's games blowing up out there. There's still people who play tabletop games. Shadow Dark is blowing up, but it's just in New England, like you're not seeing, you know what I mean? It's just not caught on, you know what I mean? Like, not to say that these hobby shops, and I have a few in my area that don't have people playing games, but trying to find like, if you're trying to play AD&D, if you're trying to play Castles and Crusades, Swords and Wizardry, Hyperborea, like all these games that are based on the original game set that we know and love. You don't see them that much.
Right. Yeah. Being that you're from Massachusetts and everything, how much Call of Cthulhu do you actually see? Is that bigger because of it's a regional game, or?
It's huge at our local conventions. You know what I mean? And it's huge at Gary Con. There's it's present at Total Con. So it's around here, but the books are available.
Yeah.
Like my local gaming shop in Haverhill has a big Cthulhu section.
Right.
But yet no Cthulhu games scheduled.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you can go in and buy a book.
Right.
But these games are being played in home groups.
Right.
Like, so again, a local gaming store has a big Cthulhu section, but these are probably being purchased and it's being run in home groups, but I'm just not seeing it. I mean, because you when you go to hobby shops, you're hoping to see if you can buy what you're into.
Right.
But then of course it's also cool to like kind of mingle and experience and play other games that maybe you don't have a game group. Maybe there's no one that you're playing with currently. Everyone's moved away. Everyone's gone to whatever, the Twitch. That's so backwards with
right.
People using Roll20, like all that stuff, where it's like that became popular during COVID. But I mean, honestly, it doesn't beat hanging with your friends, 6-pack pizza, sleeve of Oreos. Let's throw some expletives at each other. You know what I mean? And having a good time.
Right.
And if you don't have that, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to say, is there somewhere local that I can find that is going to offer something like that? And if these games aren't being offered or there's no organized play for them, it can be disheartening.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised because considering Call of Cthulhu takes place in New England and really mostly Rhode Island and Massachusetts, you would think that that's a big game there. But no,
I mean, as I said, it's big. Yeah. If you go to Total Con,
you're gonna
which is in southern Massachusetts. Yeah. I mean, there's like 20-something hundred people that go to Total Con. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah.
I bet at Rising Phoenix, there's people who are running. You're going to be running it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I just recently, my local gaming store, I was looking at their calendar, and I didn't see anything. But that being said, I've seen some game stores like in New Hampshire that do some Cthulhu stuff. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you're going to drive to a con, you're going to drive, as you said, 2 hours, 45 minutes. But I'm not going to drive 2 hours, 45 minutes or 2 hours or an hour and a half for like a local, one once a week, bi-weekly game. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's like, you got kids, you got a life, you got, joy, all this other stuff. You can't do something like that on a regular basis.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's the other thing that I really do like about smaller conventions is that you do get to see a really good mix of games that tend to run there. Again, not that bigger cons don't do that as well, but I think it's much more diverse in the types of games that you'll see at a smaller convention that you do at the larger convention. Mm-hmm. And probably for that I want to call like an opportunity cost, like you were bringing up, right? A large convention has to bring in a lot of people. What's going to bring them in? Magic the Gathering tournaments and 5e or the Pathfinder Society, whatever they call their organized play. But they're going to bring in the big hitters for organized play. Smaller conventions, they're starting to get that because some of the smaller companies are starting to see organized play as the way to go. Shadow Dark, I'm saying Shadow Dark organized play is actually in the works. All right, they're starting to, Arcane Library is starting to kind of try to piece that thing together and get that as a thing. Troll Lord Games is doing Endless Worlds, which is their organized play for either Castles and Crusades or Amazing Adventures and whatever other future endeavors that they also do. So many of these smaller publishers are starting to, and they're not tiny publishers, let's put it that way, but
Of course.
they're certainly smaller than, the two big, the two or three big ones out there, and they're starting to see the benefit in having a presence at conventions, and again, they're starting to recognize smaller conventions, and so I know that you said you're targeting for a launch of around like 80 to 100, or you said how many? I
So,
forget how many badges you had.
originally set at 85 badges. We'll
Mhm.
see what the number is later. Last I checked, we were sitting at 44.
Mhm.
And looks like we just lost a connection.
No, you're still here. You're still here. Did I lose? No. You there?
We're back. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
As I was saying, originally set at 85. We currently have 44 badges left.
Mhm.
But they're, it's if as I mentioned in the video the other day, as I was announcing that I was going to be on the podcast, if you're considering purchasing a badge, now's the time.
Right.
And then I'll offer, some will be available at the door, of course. So if you're showing up day of, even if we
Mhm.
sell out, then which is the goal. I'm hoping, in as we head into March, that with the podcast Total Con, people sharing word of mouth, people reposting.
Mhm.
My wife has been a great supporter of the fact that, like, I get home from work, I'm exhausted, and she's like, you haven't posted a video in a couple of days. Go down to the basement, go do a video real quick. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then, but then I get excited for it. I'm like, all right, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to let everyone know what's going on. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then, I focused more for a good portion of the holidays on some logistical stuff. And
Mhm.
I did a collaboration through Cameo with Mick Foley that, on Instagram has like, oh geez, like almost 13,000 views.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like, I was a huge wrestling fan growing up, and I know a
Right.
lot of gamers are.
Yeah.
Um, I got a special event that I run once a year. It's kind of made its rounds at a couple of different cons. It started at Gary Con. It's been at North Texas the last couple of years. It's called the Pugna Regalum Escad Mortem, which is basically a battle royale to the death. And the winner gets a WWE Championship belt.
Yeah.
And I used Mick Foley to because I was moving it from one convention to another where I'd never been. So I went from Gary Con, decided, I'm going to give North Texas a try and see what that's all
Mm.
about, because I have so many friends who go there and say it's just a quaint,
Mm.
it's a smaller con, but still big enough that it's still a lot to offer, special guests and all
Right.
that stuff. But it kind of reminds them of what it was like to go to Gary Con the first few years. So
Right.
I was like, yeah, let's do it. But like, you take a risk. I mean, this is not a con thing, but like, as running a convention, but you take a risk going from a convention that you've been running games at for years that fill up every year,
Right.
because people know, they look for your game and they're like, oh, he's running a second edition
Mm.
AD&D game. I'm going to sign up for that, to going to a convention that the majority of people I'd never met before.
Right.
So I was like, how do I get this promoted? I don't want to do a
Mm.
12-person tournament with a championship belt up for grabs and I get 3 people to sign up for it. So I was just like, I got to think outside the box. And I was like, man, I never tried Cameo before. So, and I was like, and everyone remembers 98, Hell in the Cell, Mankind, almost broken in
Yeah.
half. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, I had Mick do a video for me, and everyone had such a great, they're like, this was awesome. So I had to do another one for me. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, I just, the holidays, you're exhausted. You have like, listen, I'll have someone else do something for me. So
Right.
I had Mick. I gave him a few sentences. He put out like almost a 3-minute video, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So, but
And he's a hugely popular person. I mean, I don't think anybody has anything bad to say about that man either. Both in the industry and outside of it too. I mean, he's just
well, I did
beloved
have one person say he used to see a dentist.
person.
But like, listen, at his age, the wars that he fought in the ring, and he was probably
yeah.
just like whatever. Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
so, but yeah, so as I said, my wife has been very supportive. She filmed the video of me rolling out the banner, Chet's banner. And I'll be honest, like I'm so backwards with technology, but when it comes to like posting these videos and doing these things, I'm learning these things that you can do on social media that I knew, like editing videos, doing music overlays, and you just start to think of things as you're doing these videos. What do you want to see? I remember thinking a couple of days in advance that I was going to do that 20-30 second video of rolling out that banner, and what in my mind is going to relay the emotions for me rolling out that banner for what it represents was the song Kids from Stranger Things from the first season.
Yeah.
When you watch, I mean, again, a lot of gamers, they watch a lot of nerd TV. Like everyone's there. I even have friends who've never played D&D before that watch Stranger Things. They're like, "Oh my God, is D&D like that?" I'm like, "It's better." You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, that's, to have that first season, the experiences, Demogorgon, the D&D and all that stuff. And some of that 80s synth music, just, I was seeing it in my head. I'm like, that is definitely how I'm putting that together. And, I myself, I have a buddy of mine who messaged me like the other day. He's like, "Dude, I think I've watched that video. I don't know why. I've watched it like 5 times in a row." Like you're just rolling out a piece of vinyl. You know what I mean? But like, it's just, but you're so excited. And my wife's giggling in the background because, she's been my biggest support about this. She definitely wants to see me succeed. So it's, it's just been cool. And honestly,
you have that video on your YouTube channel and on Facebook, correct?
So right now it's on Instagram. It's on my Instagram, my Facebook, but I have it on all the different socials. I even have it on TikTok. But I just started, and listen, I had no idea I had a YouTube channel. I'm like, I hadn't really posted anything on it yet, but like, I thought I was just like looking at YouTube to do stuff. And then like, I went in a little bit further the other day, and in order to get the Mick Foley video on the website, it was like, you have to post it on YouTube first, which I did so I could get it moved over. And then I was like, wow, like I have a YouTube channel. Like I have done nothing with it. So that's another thing that I'm like, listen, but it's like adding more to my plate. So like, hopefully eventually I'll start, doing that stuff. And all these videos and everything that I've done, I literally can just transfer over to at least start an initial catalog of stuff. So
eventually you'll be able to, you start like this here, right? This is going to 3 different servers, so this is being rebroadcast on, on YouTube, on X, and on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? And, so if you have, whatever system you're using, whatever platform or program you're using to do one video, a lot of times they'll let you send it, to multiple places.
Yeah, and that's what I've again, as you're starting to scratch the surface, you're finding there's certain mediums that if you post to one, will spread it
automatically go to others. Yeah. So that'll help streamline some of your, so it's not as like, oh geez, I got to proactively post this in 3 different places. I'm not a technology whiz either. And so when I have technological problems and everything, it's like, oh, it's such a hassle. Like I have run across things like, why is this, 7-minute long video taking 4 hours to upload? It's like, every once in a while the services just glitch on you. And it's like, no, this is not supposed to take 7 hours to upload, and then of call the company and they're like, oh, well, let us check your speed, because that's an issue. They kind of downturn you every once in a while unless you're looking. It's like, oh, you're dialing me down, kind of thing. And you call them, and all of a sudden it's like twice as fast as it was before. It's like, yeah, stop dialing me down, and we'll be good. But yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's been great to hear about your journey. I like I said, I will definitely make an effort to get out there that Saturday and check it out. And then I'd love to have you come back on again and talk about your experience, like how did it go.
Absolutely.
and everything like that. If I am there, I'm definitely going there with my video and my, I will be taking, I'll be doing quick videos while I'm there, and taking plenty of pictures and whatnot as well. And I'll buy you a beer while we're there at the the bar there. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Certainly hoping I can get out there, and
I hope so.
I
But we'll
encourage
see.
everybody else
I know,
to.
as you explained, I know you're going to Rising Phoenix the next weekend. So
Yeah, the very next weekend, but I'll see. I mean, it's only a day trip. I will run it by the powers that be, which is my wife and my two daughters. Be like, hey, you don't mind if I go out the weekend before? Well, it's just like my daughter is involved with. She's a choreographer, so she does dance competitions, which tend to be on weekends as well. So it's like, and that's like in the heart of their dancing competitions, as a, season, so I'll definitely check it out. If I can, that'll be awesome. I'd love to come out there, especially for the inaugural year. I always like to catch it the first year, and then I will certainly plan on being there for the full experience, next year.
yeah.
So
We're gonna have. So we got games and good amount of games submitted so far. We've got Dragonlance, we've got Hyperboard, Old School Dungeons and Dragons, Neon. I think I set up again. Neon Lords of the Toxic
Wasteland. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dragon Slayer is, I mean, we definitely have a group of we have variety in the tabletop realm. We've got Duck and Crow Press that's been at Page, Shire Con. They're going to set up a table and offer and some original publication stuff. Tom Wilson said he wants to set up a table to sell some old school D&D stuff, which is awesome because you always want that there. Plus, anything he's got with throwy games. And Chet, as I mentioned, Chet wants to set up some stuff to be able to offer his Orange Cat game stuff and any art that he's got available, which is I'm looking forward to that. And then we'll have a Con 101. There's going to be some swag for the guests. I'm going to have T-shirts available. It's real, man. Like it's crazy to think that this is all kind of coming together, and then literally like in a month or so, like I'm going to be sitting behind a welcome desk, going, "Hi, welcome to OSR Con," but like it's legit,
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, well, thank you so much, Tony, for coming on.
You're so very welcome. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, it's great, great meeting you again, and looking forward to seeing you at your convention. And you're going to be heading out to ShireCon this upcoming year, or not sure yet?
So for the 2026 calendar, I have my con, and I'll be at North Texas. So if I can go to ShireCon, I will try to, but I'm a father. I've got two boys that are 5 and 7.
Yeah.
And we got family vacations and like all this other stuff. And you know what I mean? It's like, you got to divvy out that time, but at the same time, you can't be like, hey kids, I'm sorry, we're not going to go to camping because daddy needs to go be a nerd somewhere. So, we got a camping trip, planned for the summer, and everything else.
I'm definitely going to grab a T-shirt too, especially with that logo. Definitely grabbing a T-shirt. So Yeah. Yeah. That's an awesome T-shirt, or an awesome logo to have on a T-shirt. So I'm looking forward to that.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So, but yeah, I'm gonna try to. I will see
Yeah.
if I can make it for ShowerCon because, as I
Yeah.
said, I went to. My first year was 22. I went 22, 23, 24, and I haven't been 25, and I didn't go
Yeah.
this last one. So,
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
but
That's awesome. Well, again, thanks a lot, Tony. Thanks everyone for popping in to the thing. This will pick up a lot more traction afterwards. I know Sunday evenings is kind of a lot of people starting to stream on Sundays for some reason, and so we're kind of crossing paths and everything. But it's you know this will definitely go live on the channel. It
no,
should be
I saw some
sometime.
comments coming through. We had
Oh yeah,
people watching
yeah,
it
yeah.
live.
Comments
So,
are coming through.
yeah.
This should definitely go live on the channel where people can watch it, hours from now, very, very soon. So anyway, thanks a lot for coming in. Everyone else, thanks for stopping in. Definitely check out the OSR Con. I will be putting links in the description of this live stream so that once it's finished completely downloading, you'll be able to check it out there. You can also go to OSR Con on tabletop events, and that's another place that you can go and check it out and purchase your badge. There are still some badges available. Let's recycle this thing so I can give you a current count on badges. So there are 44 badges left. No more of the founder badges. So there were, 25 founder badges, and those are all gone. But you do have 44 of the regular badges, general admission badges available. So definitely go check those out. I'll be snatching up one of those tonight as well. And you all have a great one, everyone. And we are going to shut this one down. Have a great remainder of your weekend. And I will see. I'm on vacation this upcoming week, so I'll be doing.
I wish I was, because the kids are, but again, I just didn't have the time to take it. So.
Yeah. I basically still follow the schools, so our schools are closed. At least my schools are closed. I think my wife is off Monday and Tuesday, and then she goes back to school on Wednesday. So for some of us, it's a half of the week off. Others, it's the full week. So you'll be seeing quite a bit of me over the next couple of days. All right, everyone, thanks for stopping in. I'm going to hit the end screen. It will take it about 3 seconds